The next question is, what is mechanics? A branch of physical science which deals with the bodies either at rest or at motion under the action of different forces. Now, mechanics basically deals with statics and dynamics, where in statics, it basically deals with the bodies either at rest or at uniform speed. And in case of dynamics, it basically deals with the bodies at motion. Now, dynamics is also divided into two parts. One is kinematics, one is kinetics. In case of kinematics, we only consider the effect of the forces, on a moving body, and we generally are interested to determine the velocity, the acceleration, and the displacement of a moving object under the application of a load or a force. In case of kinetics, we are interested to know the kinematic properties, that is velocity, acceleration, displacement. Along with this, we are interested to find, or we are interested to know what is the effect of the forces, the force system on the body. So the effect on the forces are also taken into consideration. In case of kinematics, the forces are not considered. Only what is the application of the force in terms of acceleration, in terms of velocity, in terms of displacement are analyzed. In case of kinetics, along with these three, along with the kinematic behavior, we are interested to find the effect of the forces on the bodies, moving bodies. In case of statics, if the body is at rest, that means the velocity is zero, and if there are a number of forces or a force system is acting on the body, that problem is under statics. Or the velocity of the body is not zero, rather the velocity of the body is such that the particle or the body, rigid body, is moving at a constant velocity, then also the problem is under statics. Why? Because when the velocity is constant, we know that there is no acceleration. When there is no acceleration, the inertia force is also zero. So there is no inertia force. And we know that inertia force is nothing but the force defined by Newton. So there is no Newtonian force. So where there is no Newtonian force, there is no motion of the body as per the Newton. So either the body is at rest or the body is moving at uniform speed. So statics deals with the equilibrium of the bodies when there is no acceleration under the action of the forces, and dynamics deals with the bodies at when the bodies are at motion. Now, mechanics is subdivided into a number of categories, like statics and dynamics we have already discussed. Now, very much related to statics, there is a mechanics of materials. Sometimes in different specialization or different departments, the subject is in the name of solid mechanics, or it may be in the name of fluid mechanics, or it may be the name of strength of material, then vibration, then fracture mechanics. So all these are related to design. So if anyone has to be, he has to have a very good idea in design. So the importance of the subject engineering mechanics cannot be ignored. The application wise, structure, mechanical as well as more in civil engineering, automobiles, that means mechanical engineers, robotics, spacecrafts, MEMS. So everywhere engineering mechanics is related. So the importance of engineering mechanics, the importance of the analysis of force system. Engineering mechanics is nothing but the analysis of force system. Analysis of force system. So the analysis of force systems in every way of life is very important. So the importance of the subject cannot be ignored. Now, mechanics is broadly divided into these three parts. Mechanics of rigid bodies, the concept of rigid body I'll come later on. The mechanics of deformable bodies, and the mechanics of fluids. Now, what do you mean a rigid body? If the relative distance between any 2 points of a body does not alter or change, before and after the application of the force on that body, if the relative distance or relative position does not change with respect to one another point, such types of bodies are called rigid bodies. Say a pen. A pen may be considered a rigid body till it doesn't break. But human body cannot be rigid body, because whenever there is some loading on the body tends to deform or easily deforms. So practically there are very few, or without any hypothetical examples, there are very rare case we can give the example of rigid bodies, where deformable bodies are which easily it can be deformed by the application of the forces. Fluids, that means gas and liquid. Gases and liquids all are fluids. Solids are generally considered to be rigid, but gases and liquids are fluids because they can easily deform. So statics and dynamics both are studied in case of rigid bodies, as well as they are studied for deformable bodies. If we study the force system for a gas or liquid or any deformable body, so we have to study the theory of elasticity, say strength of material, theory of plasticity, theory of failure. And in case of fluid, that means these are for the solid but deformable solid. These are for the solid but non-deformable or ideally rigid bodies. These are for the fluids, for liquid and gas. One is compressible fluid, one is incompressible fluid. So in the fluid mechanics or in the mechanics of fluid, we used to study these two parts. statics is the branch of mechanics that deals with the bodies that are acted on or acted by balanced forces. A force system acting on a body is said to be balanced if it has no tendency to change the state of rest or the state of motion in the body in any way. That means, in a single word, this is called equilibrium. This term is called equilibrium. That means, in the statics, we are basically concerned with the study of equilibrium of a rigid body or a deformable body under the action of a number of forces or the force system. And what is equilibrium? Under the action of a number of forces or the force system, if a body is said to be in equilibrium, that means that there is no unbalanced force present in the system. All the forces are balanced. That means there is no tendency to change the state of rest or the motion of the body. So if a body is in equilibrium, then the force system acting on it must be balanced. So basically, in statics, we used to study the equilibrium condition, equilibrium equations. We have to analyze the equilibrium equations of a rigid body under a number of forces or acting upon a force system. Furthermore, a body is a state of equilibrium must be either at rest or moving at a straight line with constant velocity. Because in this case, in the second case, what happens? In the second case, the velocity is 0, so there is no inertia force. Where there is no inertia, there is no acceleration. Or where there is a constant velocity of a particle along a straight line, maintaining the same straight line, maintaining the same velocity, the acceleration is 0. So a non-accelerating frame, as per the Newton's law, Newton's second law, in a body or a non-accelerating frame, there is no inertia force. Where there is no inertia force, we will treat the body is at static equilibrium, is a state of static equilibrium. 90 or 99% cases, the problem of statics are under the consideration of at rest. Okay? So either the velocity of the body is 0 for statics. If the velocity of a particle is 0, not moving at all, then rest, then the analysis of the force system, the equilibrium analysis of the force system on that body, the effect of the force system on that body is under statics, or the velocity is constant so that the acceleration is 0. These two are the conditions for a static problem. Statics constitutes a very important part in mechanics for the determination of support forces. So in our fourth lecture, we will study this. Say there is a beam or there is a bridge. Now, what type of bridge, what type of joint, what type of supports are there? Accordingly, we have to analyze the forces. The equilibrium equations we have to write, and we have to analyze the equilibrium conditions Also, the establishment of relationship between the external load and the internal force. Whenever a body is loaded, there is a tendency of any body to deform if it is not rigid. Rigid is a hypothetical term, I've also already told you. So, against the load, in order to resist the deformation, there is a strain in the body due to the force applied. Due to the strain, there is an internal force development, and this will result in the stress, which is called internal force per unit area. This internal force is the stress. Numerous practical engineering problems like load carrying members can be solved by the principle of statics, which we will understand in the chapter of shear force diagram and bending moment diagram, SFD BMD. Dynamics, on the other hand, is concerned with moving bodies. It is subdivided into two parts, kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics, I've already told you, I'm just repeating now. Kinematics deals with the geometry of the motion without considering the load or without considering the cause of the motion. That means the force analysis is not done. Only acceleration. What will be the acceleration? What will be the velocity? What will be the deformation? What will be the displacement? These things we have to study, which are the kinematic parameters or constraints of motion. In case of kinetics, not only these kinematic parameters, along with this, we have to study the cause which makes the motion, or which is responsible for the motion. Say a particle or a body is moving at a acceleration a. Now, what are the forces that are acting on the particle? Whether it is a gravity force, whether there is a inertia force or not. Okay, what are the forces that are acting? Obviously, the acceleration cannot be zero here, because otherwise it will become statics. So the force considerations will come under kinetics. The force consideration will not come under kinematic. Only the kinematic parameters of a body, moving body, under the action of a force system, that is displacement, velocity, acceleration, these types of flow fields are to be analyzed. Now, what is rigid body? In case of a rigid body, it is assumed that a completely rigid or 100% rigid body is non-deformable, which is a purely a hypothetical thinking. In reality, no structure or machine is completely rigid, and it will somewhat deform under the effect of the forces. However, these deformations are generally extremely small, and they neither affect the body in concern nor the equilibrium conditions appreciably. On the other hand, if the fact considered in the analysis is the amount of deformation in the member or its resistance against the failure, these deformations gain importance, and this case we have to study the subject of mechanics of deformable bodies. If it is a solid deformable body, the subject is called or is named as strength of material, SOM, strength of material. That means load, stress, strain, shear force, bending moment, etc. If this is the mechanics of deformable gaseous or liquid bodies, that means mechanics of fluid, that then it will come under fluid mechanics. So if we are talking of solid deformable bodies, the strength of material, fluid deformable bodies, fluid mechanics. The third part of mechanics, that means the mechanics of fluids, as we already told, is already we have discussed, is concerned with liquids and gases. Since we are talking of statics, so either at rest or at uniform velocity, if it is at fluid dynamics, the fluid particles have to be in motion. Now again, there are two parts. One is kinematics, fluid kinematics. That means we are interested to know what are the acceleration, what is the velocity, what is the displacement of a fluid particle. All these are under kinematics of fluid kinematics. In case of fluid kinetics, the force, say inertia force, viscous force or shear force, okay, gravity force, pressure force. So all this we study in the subject of fluid kinetics. Now the most important tool in order to solve engineering mechanics, or in order to have the knowledge of engineering mechanics, is nothing but physics and math. So engineering is nothing but the application of physics. So I can say applied physics. So without the knowledge of physics, we cannot go ahead in engineering mechanics. And the second one, which is required, is the applied mathematics. Because mathematics is the tool, the basic tool, essential for the solution of most of the problems in mechanics. Now, in the fundamental concepts of engineering mechanics, certain concepts and definitions are basic to the study of mechanics, and they should be understood at the very well set. The basic concept is in mechanics are space, time, mass, and force. Though it is basically concerned with the force system and its effect on a body is either at rest or motion, but we need these three: space, time, and mass, along with the force. In Newtonian mechanics, space, time, and mass are the absolute quantities, which mean they are independent of each other. Space is not dependent on time, mass is not dependent on space, time is not dependent on space and mass. In other words, Newtonian mechanics is not as same as realistic mechanics. Because in realistic mechanics, mass space, time, all are interdependent. Though we are not going into details in the realistic mechanics, in the classical mechanics or Newtonian mechanics, the time of an event depends upon the position and the mass of a body. It also varies with the velocity. But in the classical mechanics, we are not going into that details. Force is a derived quantity, which is the derived second law, which is derived from the second law of Newton. Space, time, mass. What is space? Space is a geometric region occupied by the bodies whose positions are described by linear or angular measurements related to a specific coordinate system. It may 2D, it may 3D, it may 1D, X, Y, Z. Time. Time is a concept for measuring the succession and the duration of a succession of events. So there are three events. A body is moving. I want to plot the position of the same body at three different times. So you have to plot. The time is a concept. Time is a measuring tool. Time is not directly involved in analysis of the problem in statics, because in statics, since we don't have any displacement or acceleration or velocity, the body is at a fixed location, so the space is fixed, so there is no need of time, there is no velocity. Mass is a measurement of inertia, is a very important, it is a translational inertia of a body, which is the resistance of a body to change in velocity. Mass can also be thought of a quantity of matter in a body. It is also important in case of the gravitational attraction force between two objects, say sun and earth or moon and earth. In class 11-12 we have studied this. Two objects, say mass m and mass small m, if they are apart from a distance r, so what is the force, gravitational force attracted is g m m by r square. So mass is also the amount of attraction or repulsion force between it and any other body, any other object. So the concept of mass is used to characterize and compare two bodies like two bodies of same mass will be attracted by the earth in the same manner or not, or they will also offer the same resistance to a change in rotational in the rotational motion or not. These types of analysis are concerned with the mass. So mass is a very important parameter in engineering mechanics. The space, say we want to know what is the position of the bird which is flying at a certain time. Since in statics there is no application of time, or in dynamics, say at a time t from 0. So we say if we start counting from this point, so after t second, say it is the reference frame x, y, z. In the this three-dimensional x, y, z plot, say one bird is flying, and at a certain time t, I want to know what is the position of the bird. So what to do? Initially, its position was here. With respect to this, what is the position here? So this is the position vector. This we will explain or discuss later on. So this is a XYZ plot. So this is the space. This R is the space. This is the space coordinate. Time, I have told T for relative occurrence of the events. Space is required to understand or to have a uh, enough knowledge on the relative position, which can easily be described by a coordinate system. It may be 2D, so only XY. It is 3D, XYZ. If it is 1D, only X or only Y or only Z. Okay. Mass is the resistance to change in velocity. Say one body is having a mass 1 kilo, another body is having a mass 2 kilo. If a force is applied and I want a acceleration of say 3 meter per second square, here also I want the same acceleration 3 meter per second square. So it's quite obvious, since the mass of the weight is same, in order to have a high acceleration I require a much more force here. Otherwise it is not possible to achieve the same acceleration after giving same amount of force as it was in for 1 kg. So mass is the resistance to change in velocity. In case of statics, mass is the quantity that influence the mutual attraction between two bodies as per the Newton's law of gravitation. Force. Force, as per Newton's first law, is an external agent which tends to change, which changes or tends to change the motion of a body. That means if a body is moving at uniform speed or uniform velocity, if there is no external agency is applied, the body will always keep on moving at this uniform speed. Or if the body is a static condition, is at rest, so time and time will come, but the body will be at rest until and unless an external agency will be applied. So force is an external agent. When applied on a body, either changes or tends to change the motion of the body. Now, force is a vector quantity, because if I tell that 1 Newton force is applied, if we don't tell the direction, it does not make a good sense. So say it is a body, say a amount of force F is applied on the body at a particular point. So this point is called the point of application. And the magnitude of the force is the amplitude of the force. It is given by mod F. And this line, the line at which the force is applied, if we draw that tentative line or imaginary line, this is called line of action of the force. So point of application or point of action and line of action. Now this force for this body is a push, because it is trying to push the body in the direction. And if we try to force the body like this, is a pull. Now this push and pull, if they are on same line, along the same line of action, they may be having same effect or may not be having the same effect. We will discuss this later on. Say there is a body, so a force P is applied on the body. If the body is a rigid body, that time the relative position between any 2 points of the body on the body will be same. So there is no effect on the body. There is no change in the effect on the body if we keep the direction same and if we keep the line of action same. So you can represent the body force P here, or inside the body or outside the body along the line of action. If the magnitude and the line of action of the body is same, then there is no effect if the body is a rigid body. But if the body is now not a rigid body, if it is a deformable body, or if the body is having a tendency to deform, then it is not same. Say human body is not a rigid body. Why? Because say one person is standing and there is a force. So this force is a from external agency is acting on the right side. Now if we extend the line of action, and if we tell the same force, so this force was P, if we tell the same force P, then what will happen? It may look like same. It seems that there is no change in the effect, but actually there is a change in the effect of the body. What effect? In the first case, for this one, what is the effect of the force? It will try to force the human being from this side. So the tendency of the people to deform and to shift in this way. But what is the effect of this way? Say, so this is the left side of the human being and this is the right side. So in the first case, the force is applied on the right side. In the second case, the force is applied on the left side. So the effect of on the body is not being fully same. So I cannot apply this thumb rule for a deformable body. There is no question of using this for fluids, not same, because fluids are already deformable, 100% deformable. We cannot even use it for deformable solids. We can only use this for rigid bodies, rigid solid bodies. This law of force is called transmissibility. Transmissibility. That means we can transmissibility. We can transmit a force along the line of action without changing the net effect on the force on their body. Okay. Force is a vector quantity which describes an action of one body to another body. In dynamics, it changes to cause an acceleration, because the inertia force is nothing but, we know as per the Newton's second law, mass times acceleration. So mass is a very is the amount of resistance for the motion in dynamics, and for the acceleration to create or to generate, the force is required. Okay, and we know in dynamics this acceleration is non-zero term, so the inertial force is also non-zero. So there is a Newtonian force or there is a force which causes the acceleration in dynamics. And the force of and the unit of force in SI unit is Newton. What is Newton? 1 Newton force is that much which is required to achieve 1 meter per second square acceleration in a body of 1 kg. That means I can say, so since F is equal to m into a, so I can say 1 kg into 1 meter per second square is equal to 1 Newton. So Newton is equal to kg into meter per second square. X is equal to m into a. There are different assumptions or idealizations in mechanics. Since the mathematical description or analysis of a real engineering problem is really a complex one, thus idealization and assumptions are very important and very much well accepted in order to simplify the application of the theory. Now, what is a particle? What is particle statics? Particle dynamics? What is particle mechanics? Particle is a body of negligible dimensions. No width, no length, no area, nothing. It is a point only. In the mathematical sense, a particle is a body whose dimensions are considered to be approximately zero, so that we can analyze, we can assume that all the mass of a body can be treated or can be treated to be concentrated at the point only, at that given point. We often choose a particle as a differential element of the body. We may treat a body as a particle when its dimensions are relevant to descriptions of its position or the action of forces applied to it. A body considered as a particle is taken as a unique point, which is generally the mass center of the body. A particle has mass, but no shape and dimension. It's a very important line. A particle has a mass, but no shape and dimensions. The principles of engineering mechanics are reduced to a rather simplified form if we analyze the geometry of the body involved in a point. Say we are having a body whose mass is m and different forces are acting on the body. Different forces are acting on the body. Different forces acting. Now, if we consider that this is a point mass which is having no dimension, nothing, and if all the mass is concentrated here, then we can assume that the previous figure and this figure is same. So this is the assumptions of particle mechanics from a real-time body. The line of actions of all the forces applied to the body must pass through the point, because we have considered a mass element or a mass body. and all the forces can only exert push and pull effects on a particle. Forces can only exert push pull. Okay, so all the forces acting on the body must now be considered to be acting towards the body or from the body. That means through the body. So here the body is converted into a point body. So it is a point body. Point body. Now, what is a rigid body? We have already told that a rigid body is an idealized body composed of a large number of particles, all of which always remain at fixed distance from each other. In addition to the tendency to move a body in the direction of its application, a force may also tend to rotate a body about an axis. A rigid body is assumed to undergo no deformation under the applied forces. Its shape, the dimension will remain fixed under the any type of loading and all the time. That means, say it is a body, it is point A, it is point B, it is point C. If it is a rigid body, then the distance from A to B, the distance from B to C, the distance from A to C. That means the relative distance or the relative position will always, say there is a force, it has been shifted up to a length of x. So even after that, the relative position between them will not be changed. It will be A dashed, it will be B dashed, it will be C dashed. So the relative position will not be changed. Even if there is a rotation on the body, say the body has rotated under the application of a force. Say this is the rotation. So this is A, this is B, and this is C. Then also the distance between A, B, and C will be as same as it was. So under any circumstances, the relative position between A, B, and C will not change irrespective of the amount of force applied, the tendency of the translation or rotation or curvature motion, whatever. So these types of bodies, idealized bodies, are assumed to be rigid bodies. Point force. It is an idealized force assumed to act at a point on a body. A constant force exerted on a body by another body is actually distributed over the area of contact between the two bodies. If the area of contact is negligibly small, then the contact force between the two bodies are considered as a point force or concentrated force. Say here is a brick, and on a brick there is a small wood or another brick. Say a body of mass m1, a body of mass m2. Now the amount of force exerted by the top body on the bottom body is acting on this area. Now if this area is very small, if it can be assumed to a point body, then we can show that it is the common point of m1 and m2. If the weight of body 2 is acting on that point, then the reaction force of the point 1 will also act to the point. So this is the point force. So what is a particle? A particle is a body of negligible dimensions. What is a rigid body? A rigid body is a body of negligible deformation or zero deformation, practically or ideally. A non-rigid body is a deformable body which can easily be deformed. The first body, it is a in the first body we have applied a amount of force by our finger. So the force is W or P. A force is applied downward. If the body is a rigid body, it will not, its relative position will not change. If the body is not a rigid body, it will deform. So this is a deformable body and this is a rigid body. In statics, bodies are considered to be rigid unless it is stated in the question. Before considering whether the body can assume to be rigid body or not, we need to estimate the relevant force. Say we don't say nothing is given whether a body is a rigid body or not. First, what to understand, we need to do the force balance. So we have to analyze the equilibrium of the force system. From the force balance, we need to gather the idea what is the estimation of the force system. Now say the body is not at all designed for that amount of load or the amount of force, so the body will obviously deform. So that body will come under deformable bodies. If it is within the range that we can treat, within that force limit, we can treat the body as a rigid body, otherwise not. What is scalar? Scalars are some expressions which are associated with the magnitude like mass, density, volume, time, energy, etc. Vectors are generally some expressions associated with magnitude and direction both. So scalars are only those expressions or those quantities which are having only the magnitude, no direction. Vectors are having both magnitude as well as direction. Without the direction, they do not have a appropriate sense. Say one force is applied. So this is a body, one force is applied which is of 3 Newton. But no one told me whether the force is applied from this to this or from this to this or from this to this. So I cannot have the true knowledge, the true idea of what the force is actually acting on the body. So in order to have the true sense of the force, along with the magnitude, the direction is also important. And sometimes the direction is also given by angle. Say one force is acting on a body, say like this. Say if this is the vertical position or y position, so we can say the force is acting at a direction alpha with the vertical as shown in the diagram, or the force P, P means the value P. The force P is acting at a direction which is at an angle beta with the horizontal as shown in the diagram. So this will give you as a sense, or some value of the angle, say 90 degree from line OA, we have a sense. So the vector should have the both magnitude as well as the direction. without the direction, the sense is not there. Now, the same body of say mass m, but two different cases. In the first case, a force F is exerting on the mass at this point. So what is the effect? Since this is a fixed, the lower end of the body or the mass m is fixed, so it cannot even translate or rotate or shift. But the tendency of the force is to rotate the body clockwise. So this is a clockwise direction. So what is the effect? What is the tendency of the force? The tendency of the force is, so the tendency of the force is to rotate clockwise. But in the second diagram, see the force is acting here. The force is acted here. So even if the body may not move, but what is the tendency with respect? See, if we can consider the mass is concentrated at this point, if you consider the body as a point mass, here is the, say this point is O. Now with respect to the point O, in the first diagram, what is the tendency of the body? The tendency was to rotate. So rotation. Okay, the effect was rotation. But the rotation tendency was clockwise. In the second case, the rotation tendency due to the applied force F about the point O is anti-clockwise. So same mass, same dimension, same body, same force also, due to the difference in the point of application, the sense is reversed or opposite. So for any vector, along with the magnitude, the direction is very important. Now, the second question. Again, the two same body, both are of mass m. Same force F is applied. Initially, a force F is applied on this point. And the second case, directly the force is applied on this point. That is here. The question is, the external consequences of the effect of these two forces are same or not? What is the answer? If the body is a rigid body, then I can shift any force along the line of action as per the law of transmissibility of forces. It's called law of transmissibility of forces. As per this law, I can shift any force because force is a sliding vector. So I can slide the force along the line of action and the point of application may vary within the line of action. The sense means the effect. The external consequences of the effect of the force on that body will not change. But if the body is not a rigid body, then the first force, in the first case, the force will try to push the body, whether in the second case, from this side, the force is actually pulling the body. So push and pull. Maybe the value is same, the amount of force is same, the magnitude is same, but the effect, external effect is not same. So I cannot say tell that the external consequences of these two forces on the same body is same. Now there are three diagrams. All are related to the vectors. The first case, the force F is acted on these points and this is a fixed vector because we are this force is acted on a body which is taken or considered as a non-rigid body. That means a deformable body. So I cannot use the law of or the principle of transmissibility of the force or vector. So in this case, this force F I cannot shift along the line of action. This will be against my law of physics because the effect will be changed. But as per the definition of the rigid body, whatever may be the force, same direction and same line of action, the relative position will not be changed. So for a non-rigid or a deformable body, this force F for the first case here is a fixed vector or a fixed force. Okay, the force has to be applied on this dimension and on this point only, nowhere else on this space diagram. But in the second case, say there is a rotation. So if the entire cylinder rotates, so I can say this point is rotating, this point is rotating, each and every point on the cylindrical body is rotating. So if I can show it by a single point m mass, so I can show it. This is the direction. As it is rotating like this, what do we know? If any particle is rotating along a circular path, then at any point on the circle, if we draw the tangent, that tangent on that point shows the direction of the velocity of that point on that moment or instant. So if we consider this is a point mass, so we can consider this is the rotational vector. Now I can either express like this or I can express like this, because along the line of action I cannot change the line of action. Maintaining the line of action, I can slide the force along the line of action, altering the point of application. These types of forces are called free force or free vectors. So earlier the same force F was a fixed vector due to the condition, due to the situation. In the second case, the same force F has become a free vector due to the situation is different. Clear? So rotational motion couple, these are free vectors, the examples of free vectors. Any force acting on a deformable body or a rigid body is under fixed vector. Now sliding vector. Now if we apply the law or principle of transmissibility, I can shift the line of along the line of action, I can shift the point of application. So either I can use this, so either I can use this force F, I can show, or I can show here F, or I can show outside. But the line of action should be same. I cannot change this. These types of forces for these conditions are called sliding vectors. So fixed vector, free vector, sliding vector. Why it is free vector? Because in this for the problem, if I do not show by this blue vector, if I show like this will also make the sense. This will also make the sense. If I change the line of action, this will also make the sense, because it is a free vector. So it is free to move along the space, but the directional sense should be same. So for a free vector, if it is a say 2D plane, say if we draw a xy plane, if it is a free vector P, so another free vector equivalent to P will be this. They are parallel and mainly they are having same sense. The physical quantity is a vector. So fixed vector, the unique point of application. The sliding vector has a unique line of action in space, but not a unique point of application. Described by magnitude, direction, and a line of action. Sliding vector. You have to slide. And free vector is not confined or associated with a unique line of space. So you can shift either the line of action or you can shift the point of application also. So both can be altered or nothing is confined. So this is all from the lecture 1. Thank you. In the next lecture, we will learn what are the basic laws or what are the fundamental laws of associated in the force, say the law of polygon, the law of triangle, law of transmissibility, then Newton's law of motion, first law, second law, third law. Okay, parallelogram law of forces. All this we will study in the next lecture. Thank you.